The gymnasium-turned-ballroom glittered with fairy lights and silver streamers, a dreamlike glow that made every girl in satin gowns look like she belonged in a fairy tale. Every girl, except me. I stepped carefully into the room, adjusting the thin strap of my pastel lavender dress. It wasn't designer, not even close. The fabric was simple, stitched together with my mother's tired hands and hope. Around my neck hung a single silver chain, not real, just a cheap imitation picked up from a street stall. To me, it was a crown, a small attempt at belonging. To everyone else, it was bait. The laughter started softly, the kind of laughter that makes your skin prickle before you even know you're the target. I turned and saw them, a group of boys in tuxedos, bow ties undone, leaning against the punch table like they owned the night. "Nice crown," one of them sneered, eyes flicking to my necklace. "Yeah, looks like a poor girl's version of diamonds," another chimed in. Their laughter grew louder, echoing through the hall. My stomach clenched. But it was Liam's voice that cut deepest, sharper than any blade. "Don't embarrass yourself pretending you're worth diamonds." The words froze me. His smirk was cruel, his gray eyes filled with mocking light. Liam, the boy every girl wanted, the boy I once secretly dreamed of, had turned my attempt at dignity into a weapon against me. Heat flooded my cheeks, my emerald eyes stinging with unshed tears. My fingers instinctively reached up, clutching the necklace, as if holding it could shield me. But nothing could stop the humiliation. The music played on, couples twirled under the chandeliers, and I stood there like a cracked ornament at a flawless celebration. I turned quickly before they could see me break. My heels clicked across the polished floor as I escaped to the hallway. The laughter followed me, lingering like smoke in my chest. Inside the bathroom, I stared at myself in the mirror. The silver chain glimmered weakly under the fluorescent light, mocking me with its cheapness. Tears blurred my reflection until I couldn't recognize the girl staring back. Was she pathetic? A joke? My knees buckled, and I slid down against the tiled wall, my gown pooling around me. Silent sobs racked my chest, but still, I clutched the necklace. I hated it. I hated myself. I hated that they saw me as nothing more than a girl playing dress-up in a world she didn't belong to. Minutes passed before I wiped my cheeks, smearing mascara across my skin. I couldn't stay there. Not broken, not weak. I pushed myself up, looked in the mirror again. My eyes were red, but somewhere inside them, a spark glimmered. I left the building barefoot, heels dangling from one hand. The night air was cold, the parking lot empty except for a few cars. A single street lamp cast its glow, wrapping me in a cone of golden light. I stopped beneath it and finally let my tears fall freely. But then, something shifted. I lifted the necklace from my chest, staring at it. The cheap chain dug into my palm as I squeezed it hard enough for the metal to bite. My tears slowed. My breathing steadied. In that lonely silence, I swore an oath to myself. Never again. Never again would I let anyone make me feel worthless. Never again would I let laughter break me. Never again would I be measured by the price of what I wore. Someday, I would return, not as the girl with the fake silver chain, but as a woman who made the world bow. And Liam, with all his arrogance, would see the crown I truly deserved. I lifted my chin, emerald eyes burning with quiet fire. The stars shimmered above, as though the universe itself had heard my vow. My gown swayed as I walked away from the school, leaving behind the ashes of the girl I once was. That night, under the street lamp's glow, I was no longer a broken girl. I was becoming something else. Something unshakable. 10 years had reshaped me. 10 years of long nights, relentless work, and burning determination. 10 years since the silver chain cut into my palm under the lonely street lamp, and I swore I would never be belittled again. Now, the chandeliers above me sparkled like captured stars. The grand ballroom of the luxury hotel glowed with golden light, the air humming with champagne laughter, whispered deals, and the rustle of gowns worth fortunes. But I didn't feel small anymore. Tonight, I belonged. I stepped through the doors, every detail of me designed not just for beauty, but for power. My crimson satin gown draped like liquid fire over my curves, a thigh-high slit daring the world to look, and a diamond bracelet glittering against my wrist. Emerald eyes, lined with smoky precision, swept the room. And wherever they landed, gazes followed me, as though pulled by invisible strings. This time, no one laughed. On the center stage, beneath a velvet cloth, rested the crown jewel of the night, a diamond necklace, once belonging to a European duchess. Each stone caught the light and fractured it into rainbows, a vision of wealth and legacy. The auctioneer's voice carried through the hall. "Ladies and gentlemen, we now present the Duchess's diamond necklace. Starting bid, $500,000. Gasps fluttered like moths in the air. Hands rose, paddles lifted. The numbers climbed quickly, 700,000, 900, 1.2 million. My pulse quickened, but not from fear. From anticipation. Because across the room, I saw him. Liam. Older, wealthier, wrapped in a tuxedo tailored to perfection. His arrogance hadn't aged a day, it gleamed sharper than ever in his gray eyes as he lifted his paddle. 1.5 million. My lips curved. Fate had a wicked sense of humor. 10 years ago, he mocked me for a necklace too cheap to shine. Tonight, he would choke on the sight of me claiming a crown he could never take away. The bidding intensified. 2 million. 2.5. Liam's jaw tightened, his paddle lifting again and again. His pride burned too hot to let go. But the auctioneer's hammer hovered, ready to fall. And then, $3 million, the auctioneer called suddenly, voice ringing with awe. All from an anonymous bidder. The crowd gasped, heads whipping toward the source. All at once, every gaze landed on me. The attendants moved, carrying the velvet-lined case across the ballroom, their white gloves steady under the weight of history. They stopped at my table, bowing slightly as they placed the necklace before me. Cameras flashed, lenses hungering to capture the moment. I rose slowly, every motion deliberate, commanding. My crimson gown shimmered beneath the chandeliers as I lifted the necklace. The diamonds caught fire in the light, scattering sparks across the walls. My hands were steady as I fastened it around my neck. No one laughed this time. A silence swept through the room, thick with awe. The Duchess's diamonds rested against my skin, but it was my confidence, forged in years of scars and triumph, that made them shine. From across the room, Liam stood frozen. His paddle hung limply at his side, color draining from his face. Gray eyes that once mocked me now widened with disbelief, his lips parting but no words escaping. It was in that silence that a hand slipped gently into mine. Warm. Certain. Adrian. He had been by my side all evening, calm and watchful, the kind of man whose presence filled a room without demanding it. Dark hair fell perfectly into place, his midnight blue suit tailored with quiet luxury. His thumb brushed over my knuckles, grounding me in the storm of flashing cameras. He leaned close, his breath warm against my ear, his voice low enough for only me, and Liam, to hear. A diamond deserves to be worn only by the woman who already shines brighter than it. Heat rushed to my chest, my pulse tripping. The words weren't just flattery, they were reverence, spoken with the quiet certainty of a man who saw me, not the necklace, not the money, not the crowd. Just me. Liam's face twisted, pride crumbling into silent defeat. For once, he had nothing to say. And as Adrian's hand tightened gently around mine, guiding me toward the exit, I realized the circle had closed. The girl with the fake necklace had died 10 years ago. In her place stood a woman the world could no longer laugh at, no longer dismiss. The night didn't end with humiliation. It ended with my head high, Adrian at my side, and diamonds, real diamonds, catching fire at my throat. But more than that, it ended with something priceless. Not the necklace. Not the victory. But the certainty that I was loved, truly loved, like the rarest jewel in the world.